Bullies poured bleach on her hair, laughing as the cold liquid slid down her scalp. Wait a second, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments, because what happens next will shock you. Everyone in that hallway thought they were witnessing just another prank, but they had no idea they were about to face someone far more than they expected. Her name was Amaya. To most, she looked quiet, calm, and unassuming, just another girl walking through the school halls. Her braids, carefully woven by her mother, reflected her pride, patience, and heritage. No one guessed the secret behind her gentle smile. Beneath the surface, years of discipline, focus, and skill had been quietly growing, and when the bleach touched her hair, something inside her stirred, something powerful and unstoppable. This wasn't just a story about a girl being humiliated. It was the start of a lesson that no bully would ever forget. The bleach burned. Her scream tore through the hallway, echoing off lockers. White foam ran down braids that had taken hours to create, strands dissolving in chemical fire. Amaya staggered, her eyes wide with horror. Pain radiated across her scalp, sharp and unrelenting. The girls behind her laughed. Phones raised, recording every agonizing second. Let's see how she feels now, one sneered, confident that no one would intervene. To them, it was just another moment of entertainment. But for Amaya, it was a betrayal of identity, a violation of pride, and a spark that would soon ignite something they could never control. What the bullies didn't know, what no one did, was that Amaya wasn't just another victim. Beneath her quiet demeanor lay years of rigorous martial arts training. She was a karate prodigy, disciplined and precise, taught by champions who knew the art of strength and control. Her calm eyes had seen more than most could imagine, and her patience had been tested countless times. The laughter and mockery bounced off her, unable to touch the resolve that had been cultivated in hours of practice and sweat. Soon, those who had tried to humiliate her would learn that she was no ordinary girl, and that her silence carried a power they could never predict. Amaya was always the quiet one. She moved through life with calm eyes, observing, listening, understanding more than she spoke. Her braided hair wasn't just a style, it was a symbol of her culture, her patience, and the love her mother poured into her every Sunday morning, waking before dawn to braid each strand with care. At her old school, she wasn't the most popular, but she was respected. Teachers knew her as attentive and disciplined, classmates as gentle but strong in spirit. She never sought attention, preferring quiet confidence over loud declarations. Her friends admired her calm judgment, and even strangers could sense her inner strength. Amaya carried herself with dignity, understanding that true power wasn't in being loud or aggressive, but in patience, observation, and readiness. Little did anyone know, the discipline that defined her life was about to be tested in a way that would leave the entire school stunned. Everything changed when Amaya transferred to a new school in a predominantly white neighborhood. Suddenly, her skin, her hair, and her quiet confidence made her stand out. Eyes followed her in the hallways, whispers filled the corners, and stares lingered longer than they should have. Small incidents began a snicker, a shove in the hallway, a whispered insult, but she stayed composed. Teachers noticed the subtle tension, but nothing stopped the undercurrent of hostility. To her, these moments were mere distractions, testing her patience. But for the bullies, each small act was a prelude to the big event that would shock them and the entire school. What no one at school knew was that every evening, Amaya trained in karate. Guided by her uncle, a former national champion, she honed speed, balance, and precision. Every kick, punch, and block was practiced with relentless focus. Building discipline that became second nature, she had learned to control her strength, using it only when necessary. Violence was never the answer. Defense and respect were her code. Hours of sweat, pain, and dedication had prepared her for any challenge. But she never expected to need it for something as personal as the attack on her hair. When the time came, that training would turn whispers and stares into lessons the bullies would never forget. The school day seemed ordinary, but tension simmered beneath the surface. Amaya walked the halls with her usual calm, yet she could feel the bullies' eyes on her. Whispered comments followed her from classroom to classroom, small pushes and smirks testing her patience. Each subtle act built anticipation, like storm clouds gathering before a lightning strike. Students who noticed the tension exchanged nervous glances, sensing that something was about to happen. Through it all, Amaya remained composed, her calm presence a shield. She moved as if untouchable, unaware that the next moment would turn this quiet, controlled day into a scene that would shock the entire school. It started in the girls' locker room. 3 girls huddled near the benches, whispering and glancing at Amaya as she changed, unaware of their plan. Madison, the ringleader, smirked as she slowly uncapped a bottle of bleach she had hidden in her sleeve. Every movement was deliberate, calculated to humiliate. Suddenly, cold liquid poured over Amaya's braids. The chemical burned, searing her scalp as white foam dripped down her shoulders. Her scream pierced the room, a raw sound of shock and pain. Phones appeared in every hand, filming the moment for social media. The bullies laughed, mocking her agony with cruel comments. Royal hair, more like royal disaster. Madison sneered. For them, it was entertainment, another video to share. But for Amaya, the humiliation hit deep, cutting through pride and identity, igniting a fire that had been silently building inside her for years. Amaya stumbled to the mirror, eyes wide with horror. Her braids, her identity, were ruined. Scalp red, raw, and stinging. She could barely recognize herself. The school's response was weak, almost dismissive of suspension for everyone, including her, claiming she had aggravated the situation. No apology, no justice, just silence. At home, her mother wept, gently cutting away what remained of the braids she had spent hours weaving. Tears fell freely, but they were joined by determination. Something inside Amaya had shifted. The humiliation, the pain, the unfairness, all became fuel for the power that had been quietly growing in her for years. The moment had passed, but the fight was just beginning. That night, Amaya sat alone in her room, staring at the floor. The pain and betrayal still burned, but beneath it, a calm resolve began to grow. She walked to her closet, pulling out her karate uniform and black belt. Every fold of cloth, every knot tied, was a ritual that reminded her of years of training, discipline, and control. She remembered her uncle's words. Strength isn't in striking first. It's in knowing when to stand tall. Tears dried on her cheeks as fear transformed into determination. This was no longer just about bleach or braids. This was about respect, pride, and reclaiming her power. She practiced moves, perfect and precise, visualizing the moment she would confront the bullies. The quiet girl they thought they could humiliate was ready. Something had changed, and the school would soon see it. Monday morning arrived, and Amaya returned with a shaved head and eyes ablaze with confidence. Her calm aura radiated strength, drawing curious glances and whispers. She walked through the hallways as if claiming her space. Each step deliberate, measured, unstoppable. At lunch, the bullies spotted her, cornering her with smirks and mocking comments. "What happened to your hair? Forgot your mop?" Madison taunted, expecting laughter from the surrounding students. Phones were raised, ready for another viral moment. Tension filled the room like static, anticipation crackling in the air. The crowd waited, hungry for humiliation, but the quiet girl in front of them was no longer the easy target they remembered. Every muscle, every lesson, every drop of sweat from her training had prepared her for this moment. The air was thick with suspense. No one knew what would happen next, but everyone would remember it forever. Amaya didn't flinch. When Madison swung, Amaya blocked effortlessly, her movements fluid and precise. In one motion, she swept Madison's legs, sending her crashing to the floor. Gasps erupted through the cafeteria, phones capturing every second. The second girl lunged at her, but Amaya sidestepped calmly, tapping her shoulder lightly. "I don't fight to hurt," she said, her voice steady, "but I defend myself." The third bully froze mid-step, eyes wide in disbelief. Security arrived seconds later, but the damage was already done, not to Amaya, but to the bully's reputation. Videos went viral, not showing humiliation, but strength, courage, and control. Admiration replaced ridicule. Students whispered her name, parents called for accountability, and even teachers looked on in awe. Amaya's mastery of discipline and skill had turned a moment of shame into a lesson in power, respect, and justice. No cruel revenge, just measured, undeniable authority. For once, those who had thought themselves untouchable had learned that underestimating someone quiet and composed could be the biggest mistake of their lives. The bullies faced immediate consequences. Madison and her accomplices were expelled, and the school community demanded accountability for the mishandling of the incident. Parents and teachers came together to ensure no student would endure the same injustice. Amaya, once sidelined, became a symbol of courage and discipline. Her quiet strength inspired classmates, teaching them that resilience and preparation could turn any setback into a triumph. The school, finally facing public scrutiny, implemented stricter anti-bullying policies, ensuring justice and safety for all students. Amaya's measured response had reshaped the culture, proving that dignity and skill could speak louder than any taunt or act of cruelty. Beyond the school walls, Amaya's story grew. Martial arts academies took notice, inviting her to join national competitions. Her shaved head became a symbol of pride and resilience, a mark of battles endured and lessons learned. Friends and strangers alike admired her composure and dedication, seeing strength and patience and control, but her true triumph was internal. Amaya had transformed humiliation into confidence, anger into discipline, fear into resolve. Every practice, every moment of self-restraint, had shaped her into someone unshakable. Awards and recognition were secondary. What mattered most was the reclamation of her power and self-respect. She had learned that true strength wasn't in retaliation but in measured action and unwavering focus. Amaya now stood as an example. Courage could be quiet, and justice could be precise. Amaya's story is more than a tale of bullying. It's a reflection on society's treatment of difference, race, and identity. Too often, Black girls are targeted for being proud, loud, or visible. Yet strength doesn't always shout it waits, observes, and responds with precision. Her journey reminds us that courage comes in many forms. Discipline, patience, and self-respect can turn moments of pain into opportunities for growth. The world may try to humiliate, but preparation and inner strength allow one to rise above. We all have an Amaya within us, the power to defend, to stand tall, and to reclaim dignity. Share this story, inspire others, and remember that resilience is stronger than cruelty. Comment your thoughts, like and subscribe for more stories that prove strength is both quiet and unstoppable.